So why have we never done that first chant before? Or have you done it in other times?
Yes.
I'm sure Sakito likes it.
Yeah, he keeps it for special occasions. Yeah, you know, it's. I think it's need to be balanced, or to understand why we are doing it. And I looked around and said, okay, today we can hold it.
Yeah. Yes, you're seasoned enough. Maybe you're just protecting me from.
You. By the way, there are a couple of you more hardcore. But,
next time.
Yeah.
Once a week is enough. Go to do meditation once a week. Keep it at an arm's length. But I mean, you must notice, just following up on this chant. It sounds kind of funny when you read it, until you cut your nails, and then you look at the nails, and it's like, I gotta throw this out. And imagine a pile of nails or a bowl of nails. You go to a restaurant, and there's like, they serve you a bowl of nails, or there's like a bowl, and you go to a friend's house, and there's a bowl of nails. So we keep our nails all year. This is our nail bowl. Can you imagine? It's like, gross. Why is there a bowl of nails here? Or anything that we think is so nice. Eyelashes. Oh, this is my eyelashes for my lifetime. Every time I lose an eyelash, I have a special bowl. I keep my eyelashes, and there's like a pile of them. It'd be interesting for a moment, and they'd be like, throw it out. And how about hair? Hair. Those of us who shave, you get this like powder of hair. And it's sort of like, if I were to keep that over a month or a year, wow. Or you just go to a hairdresser and, they sweep it up, right? I know it sounds kind of macabre and it brings up really terrible associations, but what if we were to use it for pillow stuffings? I mean, would you like to sleep on a pillow full of hair? Probably not. Well, we do with feathers, though, which is kind of odd. If it's from another animal, it's okay, but if it's from me, it's terrible. Like, I wouldn't want it in my pillow. But it actually would be more natural to sleep on your hair, right? I mean, a pillow of your own hair instead of a duck's hair. But, okay. The point is that what is beautiful in one moment turns to disgusting. In one moment, right? All you have to do is remove it from your body. And the very thing that was a source of vanity and attraction is now disgust. I mean, take a tooth out, right? I mean, have you ever seen a molar? Like with the roots? Anyone had a molar removed? A wisdom tooth. I kept a wisdom tooth of mine. I think I lost it. I don't know where it is. But I know where it is now. But I kept it. I should bring it here next week. Pass it around. Would you like to hold my tooth? Oh, no. You wouldn't want that, would you? Right? It says long roots. It arouses disgust. And yet, look at all these products for tooth whitening and all the stuff that we want to make our teeth nice and smile. I mean, really. Just take it out and it's like, throw it out. I don't want to see it. Okay? And that's with everything. I mean, the body is the closest. It's so quick. That's what's amazing with it. It's instant disgust. It doesn't go through a long process like a pair of shoes or clothing where, it goes through being worn and you actually like it when it's worn. And then at some point it gets holes and then it's just falling apart and it's like, I can't do anything with it. I have to throw it out. And then when it's in the garbage and dirty, you don't want to touch it. Okay? And we know with also food, there's sort of a gradual thing. Well, actually, it's not so gradual. But all you have to do with food that is so attractive is chew it a bit and then put it back on your plate. Like, wait a second. that was so delicious. And now, I'm not going to put that back in my mouth, but it just was in your mouth. Yeah, okay, but it transformed instantly into disgust. So it doesn't have any inherent nature, that's what I'm saying. Right? Even to say like we're covered with these disgusting things, on one level we are, but on the other level we aren't. So either way is a mistake, actually. Just to focus on the disgust, it's not, the Buddha's not saying that it's inherently disgusting. That's not his point. Because that's just creating another inherent self. To look around and say, I'm disgusting. No, that's just creating another self, another extreme. He's trying to find the middle way between extremes. Whereas we're kind of more, we tend towards the extreme of, this is inherently valuable and beautiful and permanent. And then when it changes, like especially with age, then I feel this sense of like conflict. So this is trying to get the balanced way, the middle way between extremes. It's always trying to find the middle ground between eternalism and nihilism, between rejecting it or attaching to it and rejecting it. Right? Now, it's funny, because it's funny karma that you just brought this one up. Because just yesterday, a good friend of mine, she's in Nepal, going on a hike, doing this nice, you've probably done Annapurna circuit, some of you. But before that, she went to, in Kathmandu, there's like these burning ghats, where they burn. It's also in Varanasi and in Kathmandu. There's a place, it's not even a river, I don't know what it is. It just looked like some dirty water, right? But still, it's enough for them. And they have all these, pyres. A pyre is a place to burn the body. And they burn the bodies there and it's open. And I asked her, I said, well, so what was your impression? She'd never seen that before. And she said she was amazed how public it is. It's just public. Like, usually we take our death, either it's invisible or it's like a very private family affair, right? Like and then you go and visit the family and it's like a sort of a closed kind of thing. It's in their home. You go to the Shiva and it's like, I know it's just at some of the Shiva actually on Friday, and it's like, yeah, it's like it's a personal event. Even though the funeral is open, but the grieving and everything is personal. Whereas here, she said, it's just like, there was no, the body was brought in, and the family, they don't even know where it is, where the family is just like brought in. There's tons of people all around, and it's burnt. And there's no like personal parting or anything. They didn't even see anyone crying. It just happens. It's like part of the environment. It was public. It's not owned. Right? And I feel it kind of suggests a different relationship to death and perhaps even to the body. I'm not sure exactly what that relationship is, but I think it's interesting, and it's a little different from what we, the way we own or relate to death as like a personal thing. What if death isn't personal? What if it's not personal? It's a different paradigm, isn't it? It's just something to think about, because we just, this chanting, and then my friend is right there. By the way, I know we always think about going on retreat and going on these hikes and seeing Mount Everest and sitting in the weather, and she just reported to me, on a big hike, full day of rain. Full day rain, soaked to the bone, everything wet, and it doesn't dry because it's cold, right? So there's like no drying. So there you go. It's good you're here. Anytime you have these fantasies, like, God, I want to go retreat in the mountains. There's a well-known haiku by Basho. It's Mount Fuji hidden in the mist, hidden by the mist. How interesting. Yeah. Can we find the interest when our expectations are disappointed? Yeah, I'm sure he went on a pilgrimage to go to Mount Fuji, and he wanted to see the pink glow in the sunrise. He gets up early and it's like misty, it's foggy. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to see. How interesting. Can we cultivate that state of mind where, where you are is where you need to be? That's not something that happens by chance. It's actually a practice that we need to cultivate. I was talking to class this morning about happiness, and the poem that we were reading was the Robert Frost poem that everybody reads in high school, The Road Not Taken. And someone, one of the students said that she read it to a class that she was teaching of high school kids, and they said unanimously everybody thought it was like a happy poem, that it was a good poem, because like he's the road not taken, and I'm taking the road like less traveled on. There are these two roads, and I'm taking the path less traveled on. And so it's sort of like, yes, we're an individual, we're different, and we're unique. And there's like a sort of inherent irony there. Like, if everyone's unique, then no one's unique, right? There's this college where they all tell everybody they need to be a leader. I'm like, well, if you're all a leader, then no one's a leader, right? Like, who's a leader? You're all so special. That's great. I'm special because I'm not special. So, but when we read it again, and I said, look, the title of the poem is The Road Not Taken, and he's standing at the fork of the road, and he's thinking about, in his mind, he's imagining, I should have brought it, but he's imagining in the future he'll look ahead, and with a sigh, he says, with a sigh, I'll think about the road I didn't take. So he's already predicting.
What is sigh?
A sigh.
Oh, okay.
He sighs. He's predicting. He didn't sigh in the poem. He says, I imagine when in the future I'll look ahead. In the future, I will look back. He's projecting himself into the future, and he can predict that he will look back with a sigh and think about the road not taken. Right? That doesn't sound happy to me. I mean, the road not taken should have a subtitle. And the subtitle is looked back at with regret. Reminisced with regret. I mean, that doesn't sound happy to me. But it relates to what I wanted to explore a little bit here, is the road not taken, or the road taken. The road taken. Like, can you be here and appreciate the opportunity that this gives you, that this affords you? Because the road that you didn't take, may not have been the better one, right? It may just have rained the whole time. But in our minds, it's sunny and beautiful. And there's a clear view of the mountain. It's shining, and we're near the peak. It's a nice fantasy, isn't it? Right? But what it does to the road we're on is it obscures the view. It blocks the view. Right? It blocks the view. And one of the Eightfold Path is right view. Right? Right view. Are you able to see clearly where you are and what you're doing? Do you understand why you're alive right now? That's right view. is having a understanding, like, what are you doing? Where are you? And why are you doing this? And you can answer those questions clearly because you can see. There are certain things that can help us awaken to where we are, the path we're on right now. One of the important ones. Most people begin walking on a spiritual path, whether it's the Dharma or whether it's another path, because of the experience of suffering or difficulty. If everything's okay, why are you going to look for something to help you? You're probably not. You'll just continue on whatever you're on. Right? But most of you were not born into this. So it's not just this is what my parents did and this is what I did, and and if you were born into that, then it wouldn't be probably a vibrant practice for you. But what makes it a vibrant practice is that you actually chose it. You had to seek it out, and you had to make some effort to find it. And that effort was probably motivated initially through difficulty. You were dealing with some unhappiness, and you probably still are. And it motivates you to keep trying in order to relieve that unhappiness and to find some greater happiness. That's kind of why we think about metta and compassion, loving kindness and compassion. Loving kindness, metta, in Buddhist understanding, is a real simple wish. May you be happy. Okay? And compassion is a real simple, may you be free of suffering. May you be free of hardship. So keeping it really clear, we understand that's really what's motivating us, right? To be happy and free of suffering seems to be really good reasons to pursue a inner path. Seems really good reasons. So we contemplate suffering. Instead of being an obstacle, it becomes more of a motivation. We start to see it more around us. We start to see that there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of suffering, and not just mine. That my suffering helps me understand, identify, and recognize suffering around me and in the world. Your suffering then has a purpose that is more than just about you, and more than just about you overcoming it. It becomes a tuning fork, so you can hear the suffering of others. Your suffering has a reason. Don't judge it too harshly. That's what I'm saying. Don't judge your hardship too harshly. So that's one thing that can help us turn towards, a path. I'm not even talking about choosing a path yet. I'm just saying what orients you, what prepares the ground for you seeking a path. Suffering is number one, definitely. And what's also important is part of the area of suffering, but death. Death. Most of us are old enough that someone we know has died. Okay? And when you are in an environment, or you have experienced the death of a close one, or just an acquaintance, I don't know how else to say it other than it seems like probably one of the truest things to happen. It seems like a letter from emptiness has arrived to your door. You have been given a bell. The bell of truth is ringing now. It rings, and then the sound disappears because we go back to our lives and where everybody's alive and dealing with their own stuff. But in those moments where death has appeared at your doorstep, it seems to be to clear away the mist. The mist momentarily has been cleared. And the concerns that drive us in our daily lives seem to be very manageable. You know, seem to be, this is small change, we say. This is like really small change. You know? When death appears, the priorities fall into place naturally without having to force anything. And then it passes and we return and we forget because we're human and we have short-term memories. And we go back. And then, you know, the opportunity of death returns. The wheel of life and death, it continues. The samsara keeps turning around and death comes back. Right? Do we heed the call? Do we heed the call? So, considering death, considering suffering, okay, they orient us towards seeking another way, you know, before it's too late, before our suffering and our own death become imminent. Something else that can orient us towards a spiritual path, an inner path, is finding inspiration. Finding inspiration. Inspiration either in teachings or in examples. Now, hopefully everybody has met or encountered living inspirations of people who seem just more awake and more together, more aware, and just more at ease, more wise, and more loving. And we are opened to a greater possibility, not what they can achieve, but what perhaps I can achieve. And that inspiration then, you know, pulls me in a direction. Yeah, I want to be more like that. I don't want to be him or her, but I realize that there's more to life than I thought. A human being has a greater potential. It's possible. Goodness, love, awakening, awareness, even enlightenment are human potentials. There are living examples of those. You know, either I may have read about them, or I may have actually met them, or I may have listened to them. But finding examples and inspirations is an essential grounding aspect to turning towards a path. So there's the suffering, there's the death, but there's also the inspiration. That yeah, people throughout history and today are developing their minds and hearts in ways that are way more open, aware, wise, and loving. And it's real and it's possible. So we should follow in their footsteps. So I remember when I first met Buddhism. I was, I don't know, maybe 19 or so, and I started to get into it. And my brother, he said to me, you know, I also took a course like a survey of religion, and every chapter was a different religion, and they all said they were true. Which in my mind meant that none of them were. Because if they all say they were true, then how can they all be true? So it must mean that none of them are. I didn't know what to say. I was like, okay. You know? But that didn't make sense to me. I mean, so he, you know, he stopped his search. Didn't stop his suffering. Stopped his search. And I continued my search. But there was something there that made me wonder, you know, what if it had been another path? You know, the road not taken, the religion not taken, the practice not taken. even within the Dharma, maybe I should become like full-on Tibetan. Or maybe the more strict Burmese is more effective in the short run. Or maybe I should do a retreat in this tradition. They're more strict, they're more open. There's more emphasis on this. That speaks to me more. Do you ever wonder? And I remember when I started doing retreats in India, and there's always like, there was a sort of a kind of path that people went on, to like one retreat after another, and they were sort of timed that way. I don't know if it's still like this. And I'd always meet the same people. You know, they'd be like, 2 months later, we're now in Jaipur doing this retreat. And then later on, it was, the Cloud Ganj. And it always, like, they did a whole sweep around like that. Like, oh, I see you in the next one. And until somebody said to me, oh, you're really shopping around. I was like, I didn't see it that way, but now I see it was probably somewhat correct. You know, I felt like before I could commit, I need to try everything out. Because otherwise, how would I know? I'd always be thinking about the road not taken. There's always another road, though. There's always a road not taken. There's always one. So yeah, you have to try a few out. And then at some point you have to say, okay. How do you know to say that? Well, you know, it's kind of interesting because the Buddha actually talked about this. There was there's a sutra in the Pali Canon called the Kalama Sutra. And there's this group of people called the Kalamas. They lived in this little village. And it seemed like a popular place for like holy people to pass through. I don't know why. But they said a lot of Brahmins, the Buddha came and they said, you know, a lot of Brahmins and teachers have come through and they're always telling us about their teachings and how great and true their teachings are, and putting down and totally destroying the other teachings of everyone else. Right? That already should make you suspicious. If a teacher not only tells you why his or her teaching is good, but why the other ones are not, that should give you pause, we say. That should make you pause, wonder. All right. So anyway, they asked him, so how do we know that yours are any different? Like you're just another Brahmin passing through? Kind of saying the same thing. This is true, right? And by implication, the other ones are not. How did he reply to them? He said, you're right. You're right to doubt. You're completely right. You should read it. It's really nice and concise. Concise, which is rare in the teachings. It was like, you know, to the point. That's what I mean. It's like to the point. And he said, you're right. And you should not accept anything. And he gave a list of about 11 or 13 reasons not to accept teachings, right? Not because you heard it, it's just been passed down orally, not because it's part of a tradition, not because, I don't know, it made sense to you, not because it agrees with your opinions already, not because there's a teacher, not because it's your teacher, not because it works for someone else, not because you heard it through the grapevine, he said, through rumors, like it was, you know, all the news, it's like the big thing now, you know. Other reasons I don't remember, but enough reasons to say, you know, there's almost no reason you should accept someone's teaching. Until he said, only when you, Kalamas, when you know it for yourselves, then, when you know it, and he said, when you know that this is harmful and not good and it doesn't work, and when you know that this is beneficial and harmless and good, then you should accept it. He said, only when you know it for yourselves. I found that so empowering. It was such an empowering thing. It's like not on my authority. Everybody is responsible for their own lives. You're responsible for your own heart and your own mind. Right? Buddha says so. No, but what does it mean you should know? The knowing here is different, isn't it? It's a different type of knowing, right? Bodhidharma, the founder of Zen in the 400s, he says that it's a transmission that is beyond words. What is that transmission? What is the knowing that will really put us on the path? This comes down, and time flies when you're having fun. And the word I want to use in Sanskrit is called sada. And sada means faith, but it's translated as faith. But what kind of faith? It literally means placing your heart on something. Placing your heart on this. What is the type of knowing here? And this is what I want to get at. How do we know that we're doing the right thing, that we're on the right path? You need to have faith. But what is this faith? Yeah? The faith is not before, okay? The faith is not in something you know. The faith, crazily enough, is in something you know, right? So there's 3 types of faith that are talked about in the Dharma. Okay, the first one is called bright faith. And bright faith, is a faith where, it sounds right. You meet the teachings. Do you ever get really turned on? This is sort of falling in love. Right? Yeah, this is great. Or you come to a group. This group is fantastic. Or this teacher, right? The teachings, this book, this tradition, this place, this center, this temple, this retreat. It lasts a little while, right? It is a kind of infatuation, in a good sense. It's the beginning of deeper faith. But initially it gives you strong energy to come. You should know it passes, as all kind of strong experiences do. Right? But it's good to get turned on. And it's often by being inspired by somebody, like there's a great teacher or example or something, or the teachings. It seems like, wow, fantastic. Right? And we sometimes romanticize it, or we idealize them too. Like the best teacher, the best teachings, or the best center. Okay? You got to let go of that, but it's important to experience it too. Okay? That's the first stage of faith in the Dharma, is that sense of it's really bright. And then the next stage is called the verified faith. To verify something is to check it out. Right? Now I need to investigate it. I need to explore it. I need to ask some questions. That's where your faith becomes balanced with doubt. Okay? There's a Huineng, one of the Zen teachers of the past, he said, the greater the doubt, the greater the freedom. There's a real important role of doubt here to make the faith verified and deep. Okay? It's not, there's great doubt and there's small doubt in this approach. Small doubt is when you are speculative, like I need to figure it out, asking lots of questions, very intellectualized. Okay, it's speculative and you're finding arguments, right? That's not the type of doubt we're talking about. It can also be cynical or critical. That was my brother's form. It's like, nah, it's just like, can't be. Okay? The great doubt, right? The great doubt is when you don't take it, is the Buddha's doubt. The Buddha's doubt of saying, don't take it on my word, don't take it on rumor, don't take it because the scriptures say so, don't take it because the tradition says so. You got to trust your experience because you say so, right? That's the great doubt. That doubt leads to verified faith, a faith that's verified, not taken on the word of someone else, taken on your word. Does this work? What do you mean work? For you. Does it work for you? Does it clarify your priorities? Does it open your heart? Does it keep your mind steady? Does it help you increase your happiness and decrease your suffering? Look in your experience. Does it work? That's verified That's verified faith. Finally, when that goes long enough, there's what's called steadfast faith. Okay, and that faith is unshakable. That faith is unshakable. Steadfast. Steadfast means it's solid, unshakable. That's not something we actually cultivate. Right? We can work on the bright faith, and we can work on the verified faith, which involves doubt. But the steadfast faith, okay, there are certain parameters, certain great qualities that we can cultivate and we can work on, which will deepen our experience of faith and doubt. They are, generosity, giving yourself, giving your time, giving your effort. There's patience. Patience, patience. Patience. I don't know how long it's going to take. I really don't know how long it's going to take. And patience is a real tricky word. Because if you're truly patient, you're actually not waiting for something. Patience and waiting are two different things. Right? Patience is abiding in this moment as my practice. So I'm going to be here as long as it takes. As long as it takes me to be here and do what I need to do to take care of this. That's patient. Waiting is like, I need something in the future. Okay? Patience is focused on the present. Right? Patience is what's called calm abiding. Okay? So, patience and giving, and then all the other ones. The unshakable faith comes from trusting what you know. Trusting what you know. And it's very undefined because it's yours. It depends on you. There's no one who can give you a recipe. There are all the teachings that can give us guidance. But those are ingredients. Okay? You can have a kitchen full of ingredients. Right? But if you don't cook, nothing's going to happen. And it's your meal. You actually have to eat it. So the ingredients are all around you. Yeah, there are some really special exotic ingredients from other countries. Nice curry spices from here and there. But if you don't know how to use them, what's the point anyway? Right? You can go there and get those spices and just burn the food. So, you have what you need here. You actually have all the ingredients you need. Right? This is the place you need to be. This is the path you need to be on. You're the cook. I hope you make a really good meal because you're going to have to eat it. One last comment. There was a famous teacher named Munindra. He was living in Bodh Gaya, and he was teaching some of the original Vipassana teachers. And he said to one of the teachers, the Buddha's enlightenment solved the Buddha's problems. You have to solve your own. I take that as a statement of faith. Not only that I have to, but that I can. And eventually, no matter how long it takes, I will. I hope you share that faith. So let us finish with 1 minute to just become quiet again and to take a moment of appreciation. I want to deeply appreciate the conditions that brought us here, to appreciate everyone in this room and the teachings that are helping us. And whatever path you walk on, let us appreciate that path. So thank you for joining everyone, each other and me tonight. I really appreciate it.
תודה רבה, דניאל. תודה שעשית מאמץ ומחפש חנייה. הרבה זמן היום.
Last time. One thing I want to mention is that I don't know if you get an update or something, but we have a retreat, which is going to be a Zen and Art retreat in April the 25th, 6th, and 7th. And it's in Achiyot Zion, the Sisters of Zion in Ein Kerem. And you can come on a daily basis. You don't have to sleep over. There are rooms available. And also you can commute if you want to. We'll be doing workshops on, it'll be mainly meditation, but we have a yoga teacher who will be leading 2 sessions. We have someone doing work with clay and watercolor and writing. So we'll be doing exploring different arts from a contemplative, meditative point of view. And it's a beautiful place as well for meditation. So you're all invited, but you need to register so that we just know who's sleeping, who's not, who's going to be there, meals, things like that. And it's very reasonable too, pretty much down. So you'll send out a...
כן, אני גם מפרסם באמת עוד, רציתי גם על הריטריט, וגם שאג'ן מגיע לפה עוד שבועיים בערך, ביום של הבחירות, מה שנקרא בוחרים נזירי היער, הבחירה שלי לפחות,
It's a new party.
וגם יש את הריטריט עם דניאל באמת סוף החודש הבא שאני אפרסם אותו, ועם אג'ן יהיה במהלך מאי, יהיה גם שבוע ארוך באבניאל, וגם כנראה בסוף מאי יהיה, אז ככה יהיו מספר אירועים, אבל נפרסם הכל. ותודה לכולם, ותודה לך דניאל.